We think that wealth determines our self-worth. We think that the praise of others. We think that our self-worth is derived by these external factors in our lives. And that has nothing to do with us. That has everything to do with other people. Most wealth is people being born into it. And so to judge anybody, especially ourselves, based on this arbitrary metric that has nothing to do with most of the people, is going to make us unhappy and miserable. Other people may have these scorecards and they judge others, they judge themselves, but we do not have to do that. In fact, we can recognize that God consciousness within us, that essence of the entire universe within ourselves, and that to simply realize that we are a miracle of life, that everyone's body, even if it is incapable of certain things, every single body is a marvel of machinery, just a miracle. And we have this universal consciousness within us, shining through. Every single life form is equally precious. It is all the miracle of life. No one is more worthy than everyone else, and when we forget that, we suffer. And we think we don't deserve happiness, that we can't have happiness, that we can't be as confident as someone else, and none of this is true. Every single person's consciousness, every single person's life force energy is exactly the same. The only difference is that instead of having infinite awareness in this body, 99.9999% of information is blocked out so that I can have this individual experience, so that I just see what these two eyes see, hear what the ears hear, and sense what's around me. And it needs to be this way so that we can interact and engage and bounce off of each other and coexist in this harmonious way, this network of relating to each other, because we live in this illusion of form. And this is how it has to play out. If we all had infinite awareness, we would be in that realm of oneness. But we are here to play, explore, learn, and grow. And a lot of the times, we feel we're not getting that play, that growth, that learning and exploration. And so we feel stagnant, and that stagnant energy just sits within us. You know, we can look to our closest relatives, the chimpanzees, and we see that they have no need for spirituality because they live completely within their nature. They swing, they play, they monkey around. And if we're not getting that ourselves, if we're not using our bodies, using our mind, providing and protecting, we are not living in our true nature. And this is when we need to turn inward and discover that self-worth that lies within us, that is no worse or less than anyone else, that it is God incarnate, that we are all an extension of this universe. You don't have to call it God, you can call it the universe, but we are all an extension of this perfect universe. And when we forget that, it leads to us turning towards those things like wealth and property and romantic partners and all these things we think will make us happy that never do. And oftentimes it's the rich who are even more depressed because they now realize this didn't make me happy. There's no hope. And so we see a lot of suffering across the spectrum. And so we really need to spend some time, close our eyes, turn inward, become aware of the mind as a tool and not who we truly are, and discover that deeper self within us, that conscious light of awareness, which is that universal consciousness peering through these physical bodies. Timeless, formless, infinite. And when we touch that essence of who we truly are, depression just becomes a game of the ego, part of our mind, which is like no different than saying my hand feels sad today. It's not who we are. And the second thing that really makes us suffer too much as men is living an unnatural life that is not aligned with who we are. And so this tends to be when we fall into addiction to bring relief for that lack of self-worth. And we turn to harmful behaviors, or even just behavior and a lifestyle that doesn't suit us, that doesn't enrich us and naturally bring about our highest good. Most of the things we turn to for relief are for immediate benefit with long-term costs. Drugs and alcohol, the doom scrolling on our phones, the endless entertainment options at our fingertips. And these things are not natural to us. Even though we may have grown up with them, they are not natural to our human needs. We need human connection, and it can't be through technology. We need physical activity in fresh air and nature. And we all have an artist inside of us. This is really a human part of us, since we were making paintings on the cave walls, and we've become consumers instead of creators. And so just as we want to live consciously, we have to consume consciously, and we have to create freely. We have to practice some of that creative expression that is so healing to our soul, where we are engaging in that act of creation, which is that God nature inside of all of us. We are creative beings, and we were created to create. So if we are not living in our nature as these conscious, evolving human spirits, we will feel like something is missing in our lives. And we will keep listening to ads and commercials and what the movies show us life should be filled with and look like. And we will never be happy unless we get that thing. And then when we get that thing, we'll be happy for one moment, and then we will realize that it's still us. We're still here, and the inner life is the same. More consumption does not lead to more happiness. So whatever it is, it can be writing poetry, it can be drawing pictures or painting, it can be sculpting, or even just decorating your home or coming up with jokes with friends. Whatever lets you express yourself. Life is an art, and when we view it as such, every moment we are going to be expressing our deepest part of who we are. Here to make the world a more beautiful place. And when that becomes a habit and a natural focus, that attracts people. That fills our lives with love and friends and a partner and everything we could dream of. And it is that opposite of consumption that just needs and pulls. And it's that neediness and pulling that often repels people. And so when we find those other beautiful souls expressing themselves, it is like an explosion of chemistry. And this is how we find our tribe. This is how we add value to the world and feel that such important purpose in life, which is to contribute. To contribute is to be selfless. And to be selfless means there's no self. There is no self-consciousness. There is no feeling of lack. There is just an outpouring of love, which is the greatest feeling we can ever have. And it's something we all crave, but we aren't sure how to go about it. And we don't often realize that that's what's missing when we grow up in an individualistic culture that encourages greed and acquisition and competition. But we don't have to live like that. We can choose to live however we want. We don't have to give all our money away. That would be foolish. And that would be impractical, because then we can't give later. And if we just give, 10% of our time, of our money, we can do that every year and be able to do it sustainably. But simply turning our focus from ourself to helping others instantly takes us out of whatever we were feeling, whether it's depression or sadness or anxiety or anger. As soon as we flip that switch to how can I contribute? How can I bring value to others? How can I make others' lives better? We feel better. And the universe gives us that back tenfold and shows us a supportive, caring, kind world. Because the universe is just a mirror. We are the universe. And how we see the world is everything.